Welcome back, everybody, to Mechanics of Poetry. This is season 2, episode 10. Finally made it to number 10. Real happy about that. Some wonderful poets along the way. And every time we look at 3 poems. And today's poet is James Coates. Been looking forward to this one. So before we get into his poetry, I'm going to let James have a chance to say whatever he wants. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so my name is James Coates. I am a Southern California poet and performer. I have 2 poetry collections out currently. My 3rd one will be out in 2022, titled Midnight and Mad Dreams. And I also run a poetry workshop the first Wednesday of each month called Be the Change, where we write about and discuss social justice topics. It's based on a name your price model. So it is available for anyone, no matter what your financial situation is. And you can find more information about that on my Instagram at Mr. Loving Words.
And on that happy note, the first poem.
All right. So this particular poem was exercise in, I guess, metaphor and talking about poetry itself and what poetry means to me. And so I blended another favorite artistic form of mine, which is art, painting. So it's titled Painting Poetics. Writing a poem feels like painting with words, sensations saturating space, acrylic on canvas, ink on paper. There is little difference. I get in the creative flow and become the vessel, transporting what the universe once manifested. Words work, wiggle and wrench, layer upon layer, blending tonal imagery into each other. A prefix painting palette, brushes, stroke, syntax, sentences, liquidex, link, linguistic string, simile smooth enough to slide like sharpened skates through alliteration's anomalies. Making metaphors mix in assonance-based lyrics. Use tertiary color rhythms vibing through your limbic system. That's why I repeat. Design my rhyme ratios, golden rule elements measured out like iambic feet until the meaning becomes clear and the message starts to appear. The purpose is not to paint a perfect picture, but to witness a feeling, bring it into being. The artist's job, like Karen, the ferryman, to carry the souls of ideas from the ethereal to the audience in the physical. The process of painting that story is my 3rd day miracle. That is to say, holy, spiritual, a joyful fantasy journey that roller coasters me through all the emotions that recalled history. Traveling this path to creation is the art of living, but you can just call it poetry.
Yeah. Well, you've got your NRS Poetica here. That's for sure. This is great. I'll say some of the obvious things. Syntax. And I don't mean Las Vegas. Wonderful syntax. There was a little bit of everything. It was just wonderful. But the only question I can think of right off is, what is your theory on, this is something that hasn't come up in any of the episodes yet, indenting lines. What do you think of that? It's a way to show continuation, yeah?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Yeah. Yeah. And visually interesting too.
Yeah, so also that was playing going on in this poem was, line spacing.
Mhm. Yeah, giving it space. Yeah.
And part of that was like my favorite painting style is impressionist, right? And so they kind of layer the colors and then the eye blends it into um, the picture. And so I feel like the indenting and the layers of um, poetic not forms, but
You could stop there. I mean, that's the best reason I've heard for doing that. That is a very good reason to give it a little more, I don't know, like just like impressionist paintings are a little more three-dimensional because of the layering, right? I'm thinking of Van Gogh, however you say his name, Van Gogh.
mhm.
If you've ever seen one of those paintings in person, it's just incredible how they're actually layered as compared to some other paintings which are just flat. Yeah. And then in the third stanza,
Mhm.
you checked a box, I think. What was that box? Is that the one that had limbic in it? No, it has liquidex.
Mhm.
I don't know what that is. What's that?
So that is a paint-in medium that helps like either it can do different things. So that it's a company that makes a particular type of um, acrylic paint medium for like pouring and also like spray varnish. So it's a particular brand
Hence
of
the capital letter. Yeah. I learned something already. All right.
yeah. So
Uh,
yeah, if you're an artist, like you would be familiar with that brand, like a painter would be.
Now, that wasn't even the word I intended to talk about, but it caught my eye when I was looking for the word I was going to talk about. It's in the fourth stanza. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Limbic. Love that word. Love that you use that word. Vibing through your limbic stem. Oh, that's one of my favorite lines in the entire poem. That's an awesome line.
Mm.
And there's a lot of good lines here because you really have a excellent use of alliteration in your syntax. uh, Anything else coming to mind? There was an allusion. Yeah. I guess that's farther down to Sharon, or how do you say it?
Karen. It's
Yeah,
pronounced Karen, but
Karen? Yeah,
yeah, that's
okay,
how
but
it's
it's
pronounced.
CH. Oh,
Hmm.
yeah, I've never known how to pronounce that, so I'm gonna take your word for it.
Yeah. So threw a little Greek mythology in there, right?
Yeah, a little bit
Because
of
why
everything,
not?
which is yeah, and Ars Poetica should try to do that. I tried writing one, and I tried to put everything in. So I applaud your Ars Poetica, sir. I'm ready for the next poem. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
It's right. Oh, it's right below. Oh, how easy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh
Gotta
yeah.
be
Okay,
prepared.
go to it.
Um, so I'll read this one and then kind of break it down why there's numbers there. So this is Spiders 2, which implies there was a Spiders 1. um, Living matters the same for you and spiders. It's that ending. How many spiders have you killed? Should they fear you? Hiding in the shadows, moving silent, hoping to coexist. Arachnophobia of the irrational fantasy blinds your view. Spinning sticky silk long before you arrive, trying to live, big eyes, 8 legs, but still not fast enough to outrun disdain. What is it to be a camouflaged thing, always watched, never seen? What is it to be seen a threat, never camouflaged, always watched? To outrun big eye, big disdained eyes, 8 legs fast, but still not enough. trying to live long, spitting sticky before you arrive. Blind fantasy of the irrational. View your arachnophobia, hiding, hoping to coexist, moving in the silent shadows. Spiders should fear how many of them you have killed. Same ending for you and spiders. It's the living that matters. So,
Two hands on that one.
thank you.
Oh, you weaved quite a poetic web here. I caught on. Not only did you repeat the lines, but you reversed them in the repeating. Pretty smart stuff. Is that a famous form, or did you invent it, sir?
So this is an invented form based on existing form that was created, not so long ago by Jericho Brown. So his form, the duplex, sets it up in this kind of format where it's
So it's called a duplex?
Yeah. So
Okay.
this one isn't in the duplex form, but it takes after the duplex, and I'll explain how it takes after the duplex. So the same way that you have the couplets, the duplex has the couplets, and the same way that it's indented like that. The theme is kind of the same, the repeating of the lines. The difference with this, and I call it a suplex because it's bent backwards. And if you're familiar with the wrestling move, you know how that works. But the difference is, so Jericho Brown's lines go like 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, and that's how it's stacked. So you read the first line and then a slightly varied second line. So it's repeated. And in this one, I wrote them out that way, but then I reversed the repetition. So
what a great idea!
The second line, then the last line.
Yeah, instead of 1, 2, 2, 1, right? Instead of 7, 3, 3, 7.
So instead of boom, 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 it's like boom, boom. Yeah, and then they meet in the middle.
Well, that's really, I love to see innovation. I was going to say, I was saving this moment to say a big word I learned in college, because this poem is a prime example of verisimilitude. Now, you might be asking yourself at home, what is verisimilitude? That is simply that the work of art, the presentation of the work of art fits the subject matter. And that's exactly what's going on here. It's you could almost call it a concrete poem. Yeah. Because it's shaping, webbish in a web way, where you're moving those numbers around and everything. That's just, I just intellectually gobbled it up. That was wonderful. Was there anything else? Anything else? I just want to try one of these. Oh, hey, I'll tell my little story. I'll try to keep it under 30 seconds. Why I admire people who innovate like that, because I don't know about you, but I hate following instructions to the letter. It's like, I need something else. If they say, do one of these 6 ideas, I'll do all 6. Put it in one poem. And I remember, I think it's safe to name drop this, but when I was at Antioch, paying all that money to learn some things, my first mentor was Richard Garcia. And he had us do something that you might think of as a very classical thing to do. You take a haiku and you line it up on the left side of the margin. Instead of out, you line it down like a waterfall. So the words go one below the other. and then you write off of them. But that wasn't enough for me. No, I had to be different. So it hit me right away. I don't know how, just like I don't know how it hit you. But I thought to myself, well, if they're doing down the left side, I want to put them down the right side too, just to be different. And it turned out wonderful because I got more repetition that way. So that was a lucky piece of serendipity there.
I think as writers, as creatives, like our job is to explore. So like not just when a poet writes a poem and in a particular style and we follow that and write a poem after that particular style, but you know, innovating things that already existed. Like, you know, what's a different version of a haiku look like? What is, you know, and so this last year, you know, including like at the time in the pandemic, 2020, I created a couple different forms. So I think a total of 4 different forms, just so I can have something else to write in that's kind of like, you know, a container. And to be fun, because why not create forms? And I remember being in a particular workshop, and Lady Brianne was like, yeah, like create some forms. Why not? You can do it. Someone had to create the form you're working with now poetically, so why not you be able to create a form for other people down the road?
All I can say to that is, if you want to enter an MFA program, I'll be happy to write a recommendation letter. It's on tape. Well, this is not tape, yeah. It's on digital. And the last poem.
And the last poem. So Spiders 2 is in my collection, Midnight in Mad Dreams. And also this particular poem is the title poem, one of 2 title poems, titled Midnight. The interesting part about this poem was it was written in a class, a workshop with the wonderful Jessica Salgado, who was hosting. And she gave us the prompt for write about your favorite time of the day or hour of the day.
Yeah.
And I had picked midnight. But I didn't write the poem until like I brainstormed it in class, but I didn't come to it until the very, like, this is one of the last poems I actually finished writing in the book.
You know, that's a good technique, actually. If you're, you know, if you're tight on time, brainstorm the idea and write it later. That's very good technique.
All right, so let's get into it.
I had to point that out because that's great. You're already doing some things that these learned people learn to do. You're doing them. So that's really nice to hear. Nice to hear. As we record at noon, a poem about midnight.
Thank you. It's funny that how it works that way, that I picked the time and it was, yeah, noon.
Yeah. What is that? What do you call it? That's, well, I know what I call it. Nobody else calls it this, okay? I'm letting you in on a big secret here. You know, Marvin Dorsey's kind of my bud, right?
Mhm.
And so we've gone on road trips and, you know, performed poetry everywhere. And whenever anything magical happens, we call it foofy. We say, oh, that's so foofy. It's the foofiness. So that's exactly what happened when you chose noon and you're reading a poem called Midnight. That's foofy. All right, enough definitions. I want to hear the poem.
All right. Midnight is where I go to disappear and still get to feel like I'm seen. A quiet that rests in the atmosphere, as if it knows a truth I have yet to discover. Most locals sleep, except for the troublemakers. It is the perfect time to be alone. Rendezvous with my thoughts. We sip in the darkness like black tea. The cool air crawls beneath my skin to relax. It's scary for some, the night. For me, it feels like returning home to an inviting bed after a long trip away, smelling of old wood and wet dirt. The sounds speak intentionally, slow as a grandfather's walk, pronouncing each syllable. I hear everything the day has steamrolled over. There is only the opportunity to create. In this way, the night is feminine, paints a story from the microbes in her belly. The stars watch this unfolding, high from their perch in the sky gallery, laughing at such novel pursuits. The black has a way of enveloping, absorbing light, storing its forgotten path, waiting for a time to transform it, release it from its ignorance. What does light travel through but a universe of dark matter? In the beginning, there was only dark, and in the end, only darkness will be left. Confidently, I wait between pregnant pauses. Ready, I watch my pen shoot through space, connecting dots like Earth, waiting for a comet to make impact, knowing nothing will be the same after. But that doesn't matter because no one will be left to remember the before.
Oh, love it, love it. These three poems are very different from each other. It seems that forms, there's more of a tension caused by having a form, and this poem is more relaxed and it's not so rigidly formed. So it fits the mood. That's what I'm trying to say. And
Yeah.
I enjoyed a lot of lines here. Did you want to say something?
I think beyond thinking about the time itself at midnight, for me, that's when I do a lot of my writing. And so I try to put that into the poem. You know, the
So you're one of the
feeling.
troublemakers.
Yeah. So usually
Yeah.
I'm writing or editing or reading like between usually like 12 and 2. And so that's like when I feel like everything's quiet and I can like tap into the creative energy, and just let the poems unfold in that space. So I try to include how that works throughout the poem.
You've heard of the golden hour?
No.
No, that's all right. Most people haven't. But that is a term for also called the creative hour. It's like in the middle of the night. There's a very special muse in the middle of the night, right? You get something you wouldn't get normally during the day, right? Because your awareness is different. And I just want to point out a few of those things in this poem. Toward the end of the first stanza, we sip in the darkness. Oh yeah, like black tea. I enjoyed that very much. And then there was in the end of the second stanza, to an inviting bed after a long trip away, smelling of old wood and wet dirt. Very evocative because it's not just a visual, it's also a sensory, a smell. And smell is very evocative in poetry. It's really a strong thing. And then right after that, at the start of the third stanza, this is really a good definition of that time. The sounds speak intentionally, slow as a grandfather's walk. That's a snapper. I think I snapped the first time you read it. And pronouncing each syllable, yeah, it really is in keeping. You've got the mood really captured. I hear everything today has steamrolled over. That's kind of an allusion back to the golden hour, right? How it's different. What else did I make a note of? Oh yeah, there were a couple other things. The next stanza, I lost track. Is that stanza 4? I don't know. But it's the one that has the night is feminine. Paints a story from micros in her belly. I have to be honest, I didn't quite understand micros. What is that? Am I saying it right? Microbes.
No,
micro-
I think I gotta fix that. So
Oh, there's something wrong with that?
supposed to be, it's supposed to be microbes.
Oh, you want
Micro-
microbes? Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay, go ahead and fix it. I'll turn my head. Go ahead. No one will know. Microbes. Okay, microbes. Yeah, yeah, that was a head scratcher for a minute there, but now it makes perfect sense. Okay, never mind. And then I think the fifth stanza, that's the scientific stanza. I mean, microbes is scientific when you get down to it, but this fifth stanza, I really enjoyed it because it said the black. I love how you capitalized the being the black, right? Like the nothing in the never ending story. I don't know if you know that story. The nothing,
Yeah.
the black has a way of enveloping, absorbing light, right? And then you went on to say, what does light travel through but a universe of dark matter, right? So you're making all the science eggheads happy. We just had an egghead a couple episodes ago. And oh man, thanks to YouTube, I learned some science I never knew, or maybe it's new science because I was in school so many years ago. But in the beginning, there was only dark. In the end, only darkness will be left. So yeah, there's that theory, which is probably true, that the universe is expanding and it's going to expand so much, well, you know, the lights are going to go out eventually. Yeah, what a thought. The universe was born and it will die. That's
Yeah.
fun thing to
Including our
contemplate.
sun, right?
What was that?
Including our sun.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm afraid our sun is gonna, yeah, go earlier than that. Earlier than that. I think, how many years? We only got like 3 billion left. So we got to reincarnate as much as we can before the end, or find a way off of this planet. That's true, that too. Get out of this system. And then the last stanza, I don't think I took any notes on it, but oh yes, I did. Oh yes, I did. I said that the last stanza was the best because it had the comet thing. Where is that? Oh yeah, here it is. I watched my pen shoot through space, connecting dots like Earth waiting for a comet to make impact. Wow, that is the best in the whole poem. That's incredible. Knowing nothing will be the same after, but that doesn't matter because no one will be left to remember the before. Oh, you make a grandfather. Well, I'm not a grandfather, but if I'm old enough to be one, you make this old guy happy because one of my signature poems is called Joe Sphincter. I don't know if you ever heard it, but I got inspired to write it based off of the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock. It's supposed to be like, you know, some character. And this character is, you know, he gets down to saying something similar to what you said, that, you know, yeah, there'll be signs, but nobody will be there to read it. Something like that. Yeah. So that's brilliant. I feel recognition. I go, yeah. Yeah. I'm giving you my personal reaction to this poem. All right. I've given you it all. And I'm just jazzed. I meant what I said. If you ever want to enter an MFA program, I will write that recommendation letter. I'm looking forward to your new book in the spring of 2022. Is that right?
Yeah. Unless I drop something sooner. I'm thinking about making making a romantic poem collection in time for
Valentine. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And if, for that matter, you know, if someone wanted to acquire your poetry now, how would they go about it?
So 2 books behind me.
Okay.
All the Ways You're Wonderful, and If I Had Lived are both available on Amazon.
On Amazon,
or you can contact me directly on Instagram at Mr. Loving Words. If you would like a signed copy, and I can mail you a signed copy. Yeah,
excellent. Excellent.
That's
okay, feel free to stop the screen share so people can get one last look at you before we end this episode. There it is, Mr. Loving Words. And your workshop is going on now, is that correct?
So it's every month. on the first Wednesday. So we already had it.
All right, first
this
Wednesdays.
month. But
Right.
next month, same
That's,
deal, 6 o'clock.
Open to the public, right?
Yeah.
Anybody can join
Open
it.
to everybody. You just send me an email and I add you to the Zoom list and send out the link.
And you're on Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
That's pretty good right there. That's more than I'm on. I'm only on
Yeah.
Facebook. Okay, I joined Instagram, but I don't know what to do with it.
You know, I'm thinking about TikTok. I didn't want to download it, but
Yeah, I downloaded TikTok.
Doing
But,
pretty well.
it doesn't have the quality of Instagram. I don't know. It's a lot of silly stuff. Yeah, I mean, if you want to be entertained, TikTok is entertaining. If you want to do business, well, I guess some people do business on TikTok. They get subscribers. Well, maybe I guess they do. Just like Instagram, they get subscribers. And yeah. All right. Thanks again, James. You know, I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I'm so glad I get to showcase you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you creating space for us artists.
That's what we all should be doing for each other. We should be supporting each other. Very correct. All right, I'm going to stop this recording. Thanks once again.